Let's talk for a moment about Galaxy AI. You guys may remember when the S24 line of phones was announced and released. We got sort of an interesting little bit of news that was tucked away in the fine print on some Samsung pages. So we're looking here at this page on Samsung.com. Galaxy AI is here, and they begin to explain all of these different AI features that are present on their devices, and they are very cool and they are very useful. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom in this very, very fine print, what you will see here is this line that reads, Galaxy AI features will be provided for free until the end of 2025 on supported Samsung Galaxy devices. Different terms may apply for AI features provided by third parties. Now, when you start to go through these features, you have to kind of look at them and think, well, which of these are provided by third parties, and then why would they need to charge for them? So let's just look at something like Circle to Search as an example. Circle to Search is clearly provided by Google. Okay, Google made Circle to Search. So basically what would be happening, theoretically, is that Google would be charging Samsung for the right to use Circle to Search, and then Samsung would be kicking that charge onto you. Now, I do not think Circle to Search is one of these features. I think that this is just going to be a part of Android, just like Google Lens. So I don't think that this is one of those features that they're going to need to charge for, but I do think that there are some. And I think that we can categorize them into two different categories. So let's look at this first one here. The easiest way to summarize notes on Samsung foldables, and of course this isn't just on foldables, but we'll just carry on. Get lecture notes in just a few taps, even as you multitask. Note Assist transcribes recordings and organizes them into notes, producing efficient summaries. So features like this, as far as I'm aware, are running locally on the hardware using something like Gemini Nano, which is a large language model that is provided by Google, but it runs locally on the phone. Now let's contrast that with something like this feature. They're calling it Photo Assist here. Maybe it's Generative Edit, whatever they want to call it. Basically, this is the feature that allows you to move objects, zoom way in, reframe, remaster your photos with the help of AI. This is not happening locally on your device. It is being sent to a data center, and I believe it is a Google data center. I believe that this feature is essentially exactly the same as Google's own Magic Editor. Maybe they've tweaked a few things here or there, but I believe it is basically Samsung's version of Magic Editor, and both of these do happen in the cloud. Theoretically, Samsung would have to at some point pay Google to use their cloud services. So here's a question that I kind of want to pose to you guys. See what you think, and then we'll carry on from here. Do you think that Samsung will actually need to pay Google for use of Gemini Nano, considering it is running locally on their phones? This is not something that each time you use this to summarize a note or whatever it might be, that it costs Google something because it is doing something in their data center, right? This is something that's happening on your phone. It doesn't cost anyone anything. It's just happening on your phone. If we think that Samsung can get away with doing that and not having to pay Google anything, then theoretically they won't have to charge the users for anything either, which is a huge advantage. And then from there, we have to think about how much of this stuff can they actually bring locally on device? Because let's be honest, the prospect of charging for this stuff is something that a lot of people are probably not going to want to do. Now, we do have this article on Sam Mobile. Samsung sheds light on the possibility of paid Galaxy AI tools. This is all the way back from January, but I think that it is still relevant. So we have the Samsung Mobile president, Mr. Rowe himself, saying, quote, according to our analysis, there are various needs for mobile AI. So there will be consumers who will be satisfied with using the AI capabilities for free. Then there could also be customers who wish for even more powerful AI capabilities and will even pay for them. I am not skeptical that that's true, but I am skeptical to what degree That is true. So how good are those features going to have to be before people are willing to pay for them, especially when the same feature is available on other brands' phones for free? So Google isn't charging for Magic Editor. So if Samsung starts charging for their version, that's not going to be a good thing. Right now, Google is charging for Gemini Plus, or is it Gemini Advanced? I think it's Gemini Advanced, but you don't really need it. And if I'm being totally honest with you, it doesn't really seem like it does a whole heck of a lot. You do get some features early, but then a lot of those features just seem like they eventually make it to Gemini anyway, so you don't really need Gemini Advanced at all. All of these other features on the Pixel 9 devices are free. The ones that run locally are free. The ones that run in the cloud are free. I do not see how Samsung is going to be able to justify basically taking the same sorts of features and then charging for them. I mean, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but OnePlus has even rolled out their own AI eraser for photo editing, and it actually works shockingly well. I made a video going over this, and it really blew my mind how well this feature was able to hold up against someone's editor like Google with the Magic Editor. And again, I don't see any references in their documentation or in their announcement of this where they say that they're going to start charging for this. The only thing they say is that it can be used currently 400 times per day, continuous operation of about 2 hours. So it is happening in the cloud, but they're allowing you to use it a ton. Now, look, this could be an issue of scale, right? Maybe Samsung has way more phones out there and they think that's way more people using these features, and they're like, this is just going to become prohibitively expensive. And if they are indeed using Google's data centers, that does make sense to eventually have to charge for this. But we also need to think about the fact that a lot of this stuff is beginning to happen on device. So right now we're looking at an application on my Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which is called Pixel Studio. And the point of Pixel Studio is that you can very quickly generate images locally on device, which means it happens very fast. So you're going to see this happen in real time. I'm going to click my check mark and it's going to generate an image. And I'm sure you've generated an image before with something like Gemini that actually generates stuff in the cloud. You can see how much quicker this actually is. We'll generate another one so that you can just see again. This is very, very fast. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because perhaps this is more the future for these sorts of things. So maybe something like Generative Edit, which is their version of Magic Editor, maybe that sort of thing can run locally on the device. We have arrived at the point where if your phone has enough RAM, surely these Snapdragon processors are faster than the tensors that we have here. I know tensors are sort of targeting these sorts of things, but there's no way that a Snapdragon can't do this as well. Put the LLM on the phone and run it locally and don't charge extra for it. To me, that seems like that has got to be your goal. And then, yes, of course, if there is something that you want to do that's super aspirational, something that you just can't do on your phone, charge for those things. To me, it just seems a little bit odd for Samsung to say, this is what we have in terms of AI features, and it's possible that some of these features might be something that you're going to have to pay extra for in a full calendar year when they know full well the pace of innovation when it comes to these features. Just think about how much better this stuff has gotten in the last year. Think about how, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we weren't doing any of this stuff on device. Now we are generating extremely realistic images in a matter of 2 seconds. And we're doing this locally on your device with no data center being needed. So again, I don't understand how they feel like they can reasonably charge for this stuff. And I'm actually fairly confident that they're not going to charge for the stuff that we currently have. I just don't see how that makes sense. The only thing that would really be a major holdup to that is if Google does want to charge Samsung and other OEMs for the use of something like Gemini Nano, even though it's not using their data centers. I suppose they could still charge for that, in which case they might have to do what OnePlus is apparently doing, which is making their own proprietary large language model to power their own AI eraser tools. Maybe you have to wonder, is Samsung doing that? And if they aren't, why aren't they? It seems like, if that is a thing that's going to happen, if Google's going to charge them to use Gemini Nano, then it seems to me that Samsung should have been making their own models a long time ago. Maybe that should have been their top priority as well. At any rate, guys, I have rambled on for far too long without really making a very specific point. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Everything I've just kind of put out there. What do you think about this? Do you think Samsung is going to start charging for some of the features that we currently have? Do you think these current features will remain free and they will charge for more advanced versions of those features which are yet unannounced? Do you think that we are close enough to moving most of these current features on device and that will help prevent them from having to charge for it? There's a lot that I've laid out here and I can't wait to read your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.